Hello and welcome to another episode of The Ty Brown Show. I'm so excited today. It is Veterans Day, folks. We're going to talk a little bit about our country, a little bit about attitudes, and really how to make the dispute resolution revolution march on at a little quicker pace today. All right, it's happening in 3, 2, and 1.
Podcasting from Conciliators, this is The Ty Brown Show. If you're a human and you think you might have to interact with other humans at some point, and you'd like that to go well, then listen up.
Oh, yeah.
It's time to get cozy with conflict. Let's go.
And we're back. Hey, everybody. You're probably curious about our stats of the week. Good news, giving our last episode a little extra time to run since I didn't put out an episode last week. We got a lot more listens than normal because it just had more time to marinate there. So our listener count is up to 1,513. First time we've ever passed the 1,500 mark. So I'm thrilled, so excited, and I'm just really hopeful, and I'm really glad to get feedback from you. I'm really glad to see people who are improving relationships. In some cases, relationships that have been really rough for a long time. That's the purpose of this podcast, guys, is to find those relationships that are suffering and to try to do something about it, to change the way you think about it, and to hopefully try to get rid of any contempt you might be feeling in that relationship, because that contempt you feel is holding you back a lot more than it's holding them back. So anyway, that's the goal of this podcast: improve our communication skills, help everyone to approach difficult conversations with more confidence, and ultimately enjoy the rewards of better relationships with people around you. Okay, so I should tell you, this week I am under an unusual time crunch. I've got appointments all day, and I planned this episode to be very, very short. Certainly will be the shortest episode yet. So here's what's on my mind today. It is Veterans Day today, a day where we can honor our servicemen, past and present, and maybe inspire some future ones at that by showing our gratitude for our freedoms that we enjoy and the people who've sacrificed to make that possible. I was really touched last night. I was over at my parents' house, and got my grandparents there, and my kids and my siblings and all of their kids. It's just a house full of people, and we got an American flag out, and my dad, old grandpa there, he's over there teaching these kids about Veterans Day. And it was funny because the kids were, they knew their stuff. They were on top of it. They were like naming the individual branches of the military and talking about people in their family, their great grandpas and their uncles and others who have served. And it was amazing. It was like these kids were way ahead of us. Like they were not as ignorant or ignorant. It's like a mean word, right? I didn't mean to sound like that. But the kids just were a lot more aware of what Veterans Day was all about than we had expected, and it was really fun. And my oldest boy Griffin, he led everybody in the Pledge of Allegiance as a family. I wonder how many families in America have just like gotten together and done the Pledge of Allegiance. It was probably the first time we've done that, but it was awesome. It was really cool. And you could feel this sense of gratitude, and gratitude is a good feeling. Gratitude brings a lot of joy. It brings the right kind of mindset. It's a humble mindset. And as we've talked about before, the humble curiosity is really the core, the base of being able to approach difficult conversations with confidence. So anyway, I'm hoping that everyone can feel a little sense of gratitude today, that you can walk around and open your eyes to the good things that are happening. And yeah, I know, I get it. There are lots of bad things going on in our country, and there's a lot of division. There's a lot of dysfunction. Yeah, I get that. But don't let that blind you from the other things that are happening, that are amazing, or that have happened, that are really good. So I wanted to just share a little experience I had that really helped open my eyes to this. And it was this. So I am a citizen diplomat, And so once in a while, this is kind of a new thing. Once in a while, my family will be asked to host some foreign dignitaries at our house for just for a dinner. And sometimes they're not like political leaders. They're business leaders or running a nonprofit or some other leader of some sort who's been invited to the United States by either the state or federal government to come and learn and experience our culture a little bit and to share ideas on whatever field they are an expert in. So we hosted 5 women, which was kind of unusual. A lot of times these leaders from other countries are male, but in this case, we hosted 5 women from Central and South America. And wow, what an experience. Holy cow. I just could not believe the power and goodness of these women. I wanted to just tell you who they were a little bit, so that you can start to have the same experience I had, which was eye-opening and feeling an increased gratitude for what we enjoy here in the United States of America. So the first gal, she is running a nonprofit in Mexico that helps to find missing people who've disappeared. And, in almost all cases, this is people who've been victims of drug cartels. And she got involved. She started this because about 10 years ago, her husband disappeared, was never found. And so she formed a nonprofit, got funding, and they have gone around and excavated mass graves and genetic tested people and been able to bring some closure to their families. Now, in a lot of cases, the families were left without a father or husband. And so she's working on establishing what has grown into basically an entire city of people. And she's taken in hundreds of children. And, I mean, just the magnitude of her work. Think of the hardest and most painful heartbreak a family can experience. Well, that's what she does every single day, is deal with the fallout of that and try to put the pieces back together. And wow, right? Pretty eye-opening. Well, another woman in this group, she was from Guatemala. And she was also working in kind of a similar vein, working to stop violence. And they're doing it through educating the young people, and they're having incredible results. In fact, the homicide rate in her district, like in her, similar to a state, I guess, has almost been reduced by half because of the efforts of her organization that she leads. And it's all come through educating youth about violence and inspiring them to reach for something greater in their lives. And it's having incredible results as these youth have now grown up. So I hope you're starting to get this feel for the kind of problems that these women are at the front lines of and what they're doing. We're talking about serious things. Another one of these women is a real significant influencer in her country of El Salvador, and she's tackled, just a whole host of really serious issues, from child sex trafficking to, stopping gang violence to women's rights and almost everything in between. But she's at the front lines of these kinds of issues that are life and death issues every single day. And then another gal, she's one of the lead prosecutors in, let's see, where was she from? She was a lead prosecutor in Colombia and has had tremendous success making some headway on some battles that have been losing battles as far as law enforcement goes for decades in Colombia, drug-related battles. And so anyway, as I heard these women talk of their stories and heard them express the horror of what they have seen and what they've been fighting, boy, I was moved. And I couldn't help but feel like I have taken so much for granted. And it was neat too. These women would they were so gracious, and they extended invitations. Hey, come visit us. we'd love to have you come see us in our countries. And I couldn't help but feel like, gosh, I'd love to come and visit you, but I'd be so scared. I'd be nervous to take, my wife and my 4 little babies over there. And the dangers that you face every day are they're pretty significant. And but anyway, it really was eye-opening. One of the things that struck me with this group was, as we were driving into my neighborhood, they asked me to just pull over. So I pulled over in our neighborhood, and we live in a neighborhood that's just kind of miles and miles of residential houses. And it was, the houses have been around a long time. I think the neighborhood was established, early, maybe late 60s, early 70s, right? It's been around a long time, but just rows and rows and rows of modest homes and quiet yards and beautiful views of the mountains. And they just asked to pull over, and they got out, and they just reverently walked down the sidewalks. They just walked down the street for me. I was wondering, like, I hope someone's not sick or something, right? But they just wanted to see what it felt like to be walking the streets of a peaceful neighborhood in, suburban Salt Lake, Sandy City, actually. And it was just amazing. And they talked about how different it felt here in this neighborhood. And I just thought, boy, I've been walking these streets and driving these streets, and have never once stopped to think about just how magical it is that it's so peaceful and tranquil and safe. And I'm over here like getting these neighborhood crime reports, and I'm really concerned when there's been like someone thieving out of a car 2 miles away. I'm like, oh my gosh, we're in danger, right? But anyway, it just brought me this new perspective and this new gratitude for our country. And I realized that kind of neighborhood doesn't happen by accident, guys. It takes a lot. It takes a lot of sacrifice from a lot of people to make a neighborhood like that possible. And to see how mightily these women are fighting and struggling to accomplish something like that in their countries, I just thought, why? I wonder if people appreciate what they're doing. I wonder if anyone knows just how hard they work and the tears and the anguish that they go through facing these most serious of all serious problems every day. And I had this desire for everyone to just know these women and to appreciate them and to express their gratitude for them and to cheer for them and root for them. And but today I woke up and realized that there were people in America who had those same roles, and they succeeded. It's been a long time, and a lot of people, including me, have forgotten the serious battles that they faced, in some cases literal, actual battles that they faced, to bring us neighborhoods like the ones that we enjoy. So that was kind of my eye-opening experience. And how does this connect to conflict resolution? Well, it's really at the heart and soul of conflict resolution, and that is all of us being willing to have a mindset, being willing to see and be grateful for the people around us, seeing other people around us as people who've worked hard to bless our lives and give us things that we enjoy. And focus a little less on the contempt that you might feel towards, name your antagonist. Is it a political party? Is it a leader? Is it is it the president? Give up the contempt for a little while. Just give it up. And in your family circles this holiday season, as you're out there talking to each other, I hope that your conversation is less about the atrocities and contempt that you feel towards other people, and more about the goodness that you have in your lives, and especially this Thanksgiving. That's my hope and my prayer, guys. I really do think that there's probably nothing more powerful in bringing you closer to the people you love than trying to get rid of the contempt you feel and replace it with gratitude for things, and make that the subject of your conversation. Talk about things that are uplifting. Talk about the amazing opportunities that you get to experience. And in some cases, it's not even fair. You don't really deserve the opportunities necessarily, right? I look at these women that were over at our house enjoying a meal, and I thought, these women deserve, these women deserve, they deserve a lot. They deserve to live in this neighborhood. They should send me over there because I didn't do anything to earn this. I just moved here because I could. So anyway, those are my thoughts today. And I know it's a little, maybe just a little scatterbrained, but I hope you'll forgive me and I hope you'll just take it to heart. All right. That's really all we've got for today. And thanks for listening. I love doing this podcast. I love hearing from you. I love your stories. I got a couple of great stories this week, and I just don't have time to share them because I got to get running. But I plan to, and I want to hear more of your stories. I want to share them. And so let's do this. Let's keep the dispute resolution revolution marching on. And email me stories. Just send them to my personal email. It's ty2brown@gmail.com. Send them to my email. Let's chat. If you need help with something or you'd like me to analyze a situation you're dealing with on the show, I'd love to do that too. That's all. I hope you have a great day. Enjoy it. Until next time, this has been The Ty Brown Show.